We don't get shows like Death Note anymore, or Death Parade, Monster, etc. I don't think that's accurate. That's not an accurate statement. Unless you're saying we don't get reactions to things like that anymore. Like the new things that come out that are similar in that regard, but the new ones, we don't get reactions to them? Okay, sure. I can say that's fairly accurate. Like, for example, like Shiba Yugi, I think kind of fits in that same weird realm. Darwin Incident fits in that same realm. Orb fits in that same realm. You know, a lot of these Chinese anime, Summer Hikaru Died fits in that same realm. Like Kowloon Generic Romance, I think that fits in that same realm. Apothecary Diaries kind of fits in that same realm. It might not be as dark and gritty, but I think it fits in the same realm. I think it means popular psychological anime with top tier plot. The Summer Hikaru Died fits in that same realm. Pluto was like a little bit of a mystery sort of thing. I don't know if it's necessarily psychological, but maybe a little bit psychological. But yeah, there is a lot less psychological anime. That's fair. I agree with you. Orb is the best example. Is Orb psychological? I don't know. But Orb kind of fits in that like really top tier plot level, I would say. It's not psychological though. But Orb is better than all those other anime that you mentioned. Well, maybe not Monster and Death Note, but I've never seen Death Parade. But 91 Days isn't really all that great. I think 91 Days is good. It's like a 7. Personal opinion. I don't think it's all that crazy. Joe, the anime landscape changed drastically, and I can tell from the content just in general. I mentioned 91 Days, for example, and you don't see content or that adult feel anymore. Right now, we're watching Journal with Witch. Fits the bill, I'd say. I'd say that Journal with Witch is very much for a more mature audience. Yeah. I'd say that Darwin Jihen kind of is as well. It has like more mature and like thought-provoking topics. So I don't know. I don't think that, because like it's not like all these anime that you mentioned all came out at the same time, right? When did Death Parade come out? Death Parade came out in 2015. Death Note was like 2006, right? So we had like a big period in between those two things, right? Like I think the Death Note and Monster were around the same time. I think Monster was 04 and then Death Note's 06. And then you've got like 2015, 16, you've got that Death Parade and stuff. So I don't know. I think that we always have these shows, but they are always niche. I think they're always niche. And when it comes to reactions, nobody really watches this shit. And I think the main reason why people do not watch reactions to like these psychological series is because they are more thought-provoking. They are more like, you gotta take a moment to think about this shit. Because if you're not taking a moment to think about the shit, then you're probably missing out on things. You're not like catching everything that's meant to be caught. And you do have to think about it, because the benefit of reacting to it and reviewing it and doing anything with them is talking about those elements. There isn't like the big action. There isn't like, oh, or the, ah. It's the, oh, and then breaking down that element of things. And they're just never really popular with reactions, unfortunately. Unfortunately, they just never really are. Because again, the most popular reactions are the ones where you don't have to pause. It's the series where you could just watch it and then, ooh, ah, ooh, 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 ah, ooh, 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 ooh. And then you could just watch a bunch of people doing the same thing, kind of react in the same way to how amazing the animation is, or how insane the fighting is, or how cute the romance is. You know what I mean? Those things just don't do well for reactions. Maybe the new Ghost in the Shell will. It's supposed to come out this year, but I don't know when it's actually going to release. Ghost in the Shell is going to be more silly like the manga. The manga for Ghost in the Shell is silly? Yeah, for the most part, the anime projects were given clearance to take a different tone. Oh. Keep in mind, you have 90% of these shows looking cookie cutter clones. I don't think 90%, but there is certainly a large amount of cookie cutter clones. 100%. I agree with you that there is a large amount. 90 is a bit of a hyperbole. And I know you know it's hyperbole. You're being hyperbolic there. But there's a lot. There is a lot of like clones for sure. Anything that like revolves around fantasy, like the fantasy realm, the isekai stuff, like these shows have like, within the show itself, there's like less than 5% originality. Joe, bro, you have 10% of those special treatment type shows. There are 2 to 3 shows from 30 that are good. Within the isekai and fantasy genre, yes, I agree. But I think that there's a lot of like good stuff out there, right? Like this anime season, I mean, I don't know if you call all these things cookie cutter clones for this anime season, but there is a lot. There is certainly a large percentage of cookie cutter clones, especially, bro, in the two most distinct like cookie cutter clone genres is like love triangle, harem, romance stuff. Holy fuck, that's all the same thing. With, again, like less than 10% of that show is originality. 90% of that show is similar to most of the shows within that same genre. You know what I mean? And then it's the fantasy isekai genre. Like these things are just so copy pasta excessively. You can find, even within the battle shonen, there's a little bit of copy pasta within the battle shonen as well. Not as, I would say that within the battle shonens, it's not as egregious as within those other two that I mentioned. Like those are the two like fucking prime suspects. But there's certainly a level of it within the battle shonen subgenre and stuff as well. I just think that there's still a lot of great anime coming out. And yes, there's like a lot less for like mature audiences, but I believe that there's always been a lot less for mature audiences, right? Because the shit just don't sell as well as the stuff for kids. Because look at manga, the things that sell the best is kind of the stuff for kids. And by kids, I mean like teenagers, for younger audiences. I don't mean like I don't mean like Doraemon and shit, you know what I mean? Yeah, ain't nothing really changed. It's just that more is made nowadays. Yeah. I think we still get the same amount of like more mature, thought-provoking anime. The difference is we get even more of the slop. So as anime went up, we get less of the thought-provoking mature stuff, right? That's kind of stayed even across the board. It's kind of still been the same. It's just that as anime's gone up, it's slop that's filled in that void. And it makes sense because it's harder to write the good shit, right? It is. So you wouldn't expect there to be as much of the good shit. You would expect there to be more slop because it's easier. You just copy pasta everything and then boom. You got a new series that's just kind of similar to the other series. So it makes sense that as there's more stuff, there's more slop because you could churn out slop. You literally have some of these like web novelists churning out like 3 slop at a time, 3-4 slop at a time because they can. Low-key worst type of show in recent years, anime original sci-fi. Yo, hey, that's a conversation to be had. Anime original sci-fi, very sloppy. Very much. That's very true. Do y'all think Demon Slayer had a similar effect to the big 3 on the new generation anime fans? In what way do you mean? Like what, Lazarus? What was the one that I watched a couple of seasons ago? Moonfall, Moonrise, that thing. I don't think Moonrise is that bad. It's not as bad as fucking Lazarus and Metallic Rouge and Ninja Kamui low-key also sci-fi as well. Ninjas and fucking mechs, ninja sci-fi. Yeah, I think that we're right here when we say this. Anime original sci-fi, kind of doo-doo recently. That's why it's the same 4 to 5 shows in every category within the anime awards. Damn, kind of spitting right now, huh? There's a whole nother conversation to have, huh? I feel like a new generation of fans feel like Demon Slayer is their show, whether it got them into it or was one of their first. Is their show, what do you mean? I'm assuming you meant IR. Not RE, but Dragon Ball reactions. Listen, chat, I've never seen Dragon Ball original. I don't really remember Z like that. I don't even know if I finished it. Haven't seen Super and anything after Super. I saw Daima. Thoughts? What are we thinking? Maybe I gotta watch through Super. We'll see. Try it. Super is pretty all right until the tournament where it all goes to shit. You know what's so crazy? People hype up the tournament as the best part. Huh. No, the transformation is the best part. Plus the animation in the tournament was movie level. This is the thing, chat. This is literally the JJK controversy. That's so insane. Anime fans nowadays, there are people that so highly attribute how good a show is to the animation. And then there are the people that don't. Animation can hold a large percentage of what people deem is good is the animation nowadays. I don't know how to word that, but that's where we're at now. You're either like that or you're not. You know what I mean? And especially when we have people pushing the agenda of animation being as important as story, and would rather watch beautiful animation slop story over beautiful story slop animation it's just so insane. I will say, beautiful story slop animation, what is an example of beautiful story slop animation? How often do we get amazing story slop animation? Steins Gate? Okay, stop it. Steins Gate is not slop animation. What the fuck? That's insane. That is an insane statement. Yeah, it's no animation. Damn, bro. Steins Gate hater in the flesh. That's insane. It's 95% still images with people talking. Kingdom Season 1. That's a good one. Now, that's a good example. It's not animation heavy. I think that there are moments that are animation heavy for Steins Gate, but it is, for the most part, a psychological anime that mostly deals with sci-fi elements and, I mean, good writing, dialogue, and exposition. So yeah, it's gonna be less motion animation because there's just not as much motion to be made. T-Bait? T-Bait does not have an amazing story. No. I said amazing story and slop animation versus slop story, amazing animation. I think in general, I would rather watch amazing story with solid animation rather than solid story with amazing animation. That's how I feel. Because again, generally, we don't get the slop stories with amazing animation. We don't get slop animation on amazing stories. The idea that that actually happens, it's so rare. Like, there are some examples for sure. Again, Kingdom, I think, is a phenomenal series, and the first 2 seasons are really good. They would have been better for sure if they didn't look like shit, especially season 1, because that's the start. Berserk, great example. So I'm a Spider, So What? A great story, not great animation. But I don't know if any of these are like amazing specifically for the single season, you know? If we talk about the series story as a whole, right, versus that single season. I mean, Berserk is just, oof, that's a tough one. People remember AOT for the story, not because the ODM gear sequences. Nah, I don't agree. The ODM sequences, especially with Levi, are legendary. Yo, actually, the stuff in the woods with Levi and with Eren, the stuff when Levi's fighting the Beast Titan, when Eren's fighting the Colossal Titan, there definitely are some animation sequences that are that is kind of true. Titans fighting each other, right? Eren in Titan form versus Reiner in Titan form. Kind of big. Chat, we've had a long conversation. This was very interesting conversation to have. I enjoy these conversations. Honestly, these should be farmed and turned into videos. They're very interesting conversations to have.